Okay, so basically there are a few steps to moving a piano. The first thing is putting it onto the trolley. That's my trolley. Yours is not like that, but it's similar. 4 wheels with a frame around it, so it's good enough for comparison. Then it's maneuvering it through the house, and then loading it into the van, strapping it in, unloading it, and then taking it to your house. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to pull the piano. I've seen the photo of the piano where it is at Kirby and Marie's, and the first thing you're going to need to do is pull it away from the wall. So that end of the piano is tucked into the corner. Sorry, there's a helicopter up there. Anyways, yeah, you're going to need to pull it away from the wall so that someone can get at each side of the piano. One person's going to lift from that end, one person's going to lift from that end. So once you move the piano away from the wall, you're going to go and test if you're comfortable lifting the piano. So Ezra's going to demonstrate what you need to do. You just walk up to your end. There's a handle on the back. You find a comfortable place on the front of the piano, and then you lift just to see if you're comfortable, and then you put it straight back down. And what that does is it just gives you an idea of the weight of the piano, and it just lets you know, okay, this is what we're dealing with. Okay, so when you move the piano away from the wall at Kirby and Marie's, you're going to have to just tell them that, you know, you can't really guarantee what's going to happen to the floor. They've got some, I noticed that there was some cloth under one end, so maybe they put the cloth under there so that the piano will slide nicely. But anyways, there's 2 ways to put the piano on the trolley. I'm going to pause it now. Mama's going to do some recording, and Ezra and I are going to show you how to do the putting the piano onto the trolley. All right? Okay, so there's 2 ways to put a piano on a trolley. The first way is a deadlift. So what you need to do is you need to take your trolley and you need to put it in front of the piano with the wheels, with the pedals in between the wheels. So if you want to come over here and just focus down, showing that the pedals, yeah, you can see the pedals are not going to touch the trolley as we lift it. And so Ezra and I are now going to deadlift the piano right onto the trolley. So you want to get yourself a nice wide stance in order to protect your back. If your feet, I do mine just past shoulder width. And again, you get a handhold on the front, the handle on the back, and you lift together. It's really important that you lift together. So we do 1, 2, 3, then lift. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and you put it onto the trolley like that. And then if you want to come around a little bit and show one of the main things that you need to make sure of is that the piano is straight on the trolley. You can see that it's pretty much an equal distance away from the edge of the trolley. But I always pull the piano right back to the edge. And it's easy enough to do. You want to come up here for a second? On this side would be better. So you put your foot right there and you just pull the piano by the handle and it should slide pretty nicely. So that's the deadlift. Back over there. Now Ezra and I are going to lift it off again, and then we'll show you the other way that you can put the piano on the trolley. 1, 2, 3. Again, feet nice and wide so that you're comfortable, and you protect your back. You always bend down and lift with your back straight. The other way to do it is to tip one end up, and you always need to protect the other end that's going to stay on the ground. So Ezra's going to lift this up, and I'm going to shove this blanket underneath it. Should we come around a little bit better this way? Ready? Are you ready? Yep. Okay, here we go. So now this is going to protect the floor. So you want to come over there. This protects when you lift this end. It'll become obvious what I'm talking about in a second. When you lift this end, this blanket protects the bottom of the piano and the floor from getting damaged. Obviously this is pavement, but if you're in someone's house, that's what you need to worry about. The person at this end of the piano stands with their foot like this to stop it from moving. So it's basically just to stop the wheels from moving. So Ezra's going to come over here And this one you've got to get a bit lower down to lift. So you go down to the floor, you just count down again. The other person doesn't really do anything, but you just let them know that you're going to lift. So 1, 2, 3. And you get the piano up to here, you can rest it on your leg, and it's fine. You can let go, it's not going anywhere. This person then comes around and puts the trolley into the piano. You want to come a bit closer, Sylvia? Because the main thing, way too far, it's got to come back towards you. Way too far.
Oh, yeah.
So right there. So you got to make sure that you lift this end of the piano up so that it's touching the bottom of the piano. If you leave it flat, let it go down, it doesn't work. The trolley just slides.
That end of the trolley, yeah.
What's that?
Lift up the trolley, not the piano.
Oh, sorry. The trolley has to be lifted up to the bottom of the piano. And you look on the back to make sure that it's nice and even. Is it? This one isn't at the moment, but we can straighten that up. So now Ezra has to go back to the other side. And then we lift up the piano together. Whenever you're ready, yes, that's good. So, and then you just come around, pull it like that. You need to pull it so that it's even. This one's not coming. There you go. And so, the way you maneuver a piano, the way you turn it as you're walking through a house is if you want to go, the person who's going forward is the one who directs, obviously.
I gotta go outside for the sunlight. Okay.
So, if you want to, you're going down through the house. If you need to turn to the right, the person says we need to go to the right. The person who's going forward will then lift their end up off of the floor. You don't have to lift it high, just your wheels far enough off the floor so that it turns. Ezra, you come back now to your left, straight out. There we go. And so you just do that every time you come to a corner. Sometimes, I don't know what Kirby and Marie's house is like, but sometimes you need to do like 4 or 5 little adjustments that are 1 inch or half an inch or something. And it seems like it's not going to go, but it will go eventually. All right, Mama says that Auntie Kirby and Uncle Murray's house is pretty straight. We're not going to have any turns, so that's good.
Auntie Marie and Uncle Kirby too.
Sure. Anyways, so your wheels on the trolley, the picture that you sent me, are much smaller. So mine are like this big. Yours are like this big. So when you do the maneuvers lifting up like this, you're not going to be able to lift as high. But all you need to do is just lift your wheels off of the floor when you need to make a move. You don't have to do it very high. And you need to be careful of, if you lift too high, that end is going to ground out on the floor. Same with the other way. Pause. Okay, so just to clarify, we're talking about lifting the trolley wheels off of the ground, not the piano wheels, because they're already off of the ground. And I'm not even sure that this piano, your piano, has wheels. Anyways, so then you need to, once you've parked the van and everything like that, you've got a ramp that comes out of your van. I don't know how high up the van is, and I don't know how long your ramp is, so that's really going to be an issue that you're going to have to deal with at the moment when you get there. Because mine is nice and shallow. I can approach the ramp just generally, just normal. And then we just push up the ramp like this. So you have to start this end up first. But, go backwards a bit, please. If your ramp is really short and your pitch is quite steep, then you're going to have to watch that this end doesn't touch the ramp before you start pushing up. So you may have to, before the wheels get to the edge of the ramp, you may have to start to lift already. You're just going to have to really be careful, use your eyes, and just think about, is the piano going to touch either on this end, on the ramp, or on that end, on the ground. All right, so then you just push up. It's just nice and slow. Make sure that it's not leaning, and make sure you just both push evenly. Okay, so now we're just going to position the piano where it's going to be transported at. I would suggest that you guys take the piano off of the trolley. So, sorry, go backwards a bit, Ezra. You come out a bit more. If you deadlifted it on, you just do the opposite. And if you tipped it on, the same way that we did outside, then you just do the opposite again. Ezra and I will show you that. So again, you just put a blanket down to protect the piano. Make sure that you got enough room behind you so that you can bend down with the piano once you're ready to do that, once the piano trolley's out of the way. So again, just lift it up, get it on your leg. That's totally fine. Ezra's going to grab the piano trolley out. Take your time, Ez. And then you go back to that edge of the piano, and that is mainly just helping to guide the piano down and making sure that it's stable. It's not going to fall left or right. Okay. So then I'd lean into it like this, and then just bring it down. And then you push it in on the wheels or on the bottom into the corner where it's going to go. Come in a bit more, Ez. Towards me. That's fine. Go a bit more. Towards me. There. So, I mean, I do this all the time, so I have lots of cushions. So I use cushions to protect the corners of the piano. So you just stick it behind like that. Just make sure that nothing is touching the wall. Ezra, you push it forward towards the front of the van. It's good there. And before you start ratcheting it up, you want to make sure that it's nice and tight up against the van. Again, because I do this all the time, I've got blankets, which I also use to protect the piano. So you guys should have as many blankets as you can find. Sorry, Sylvia. You want to pass me the camera for a second? I just want to show them over here. So this cushion wraps around the back, protects the corner, and comes down this way. I haven't done it yet, but pull it down all the way. And then this corner will be protected from touching the front. And this cushion here is just in the protecting the back again. Sort of trying to give you a bit of a there. So that's how we rest the piano. We use the blankets to protect the piano where the ratchets to the strap's going to go over, which you'll see in a moment. My lashing points are here, these rings, these holes, and you can't see it on this side, but I've got a ring like this that will hook one end of the ratchet into. Ezra, you can hold that. You can do it. So you want to make sure that you can find a good safe space to put the ratchet, a place that isn't going to bend outwards. Like you don't want to put it on the metal part of the van. I don't know what the inside of the van looks like, so it's hard to say. But you just hook it onto the lashing points that you're going to use. Pull the strap tight, and you ratchet it up. You don't want it super duper tight because you don't want to wreck the walls. You don't want to wreck the piano. I have seen some U-Haul vans that have this sort of a ring on the floor here. So you'll have to, if that is the case, then you'll have to find a place between two rings that's equidistant between the lashing points, and then you hook one end on the ring, one ring on the other end, so it's going to be down instead of sideways like that. And if it's going down, you need to be careful that you don't do it too tight because you could break the keyboard. Now you've got to really do it up tight in order to do that, but just something to be aware of. So if you see, this strap can pull out a little bit, so it's not so tight that it can't move. Yeah, so that's putting the piano into the van. Taking the piano out of the van is just exactly the opposite. Again, you need to find a nice place where you can pull the ramp out, and again, you need to be careful of the pitch of the ramp, but you'll know that from the first part if it's going to be steep or not. And then when you go to your house, when you get the piano home, then you just need to obviously wheel it around back. Just trying to think of the entrance to your house. I think when you take the piano into the house, you're going to want the right hand end of the piano going in the house first, so that the keyboard, for the person who's walking forward, the keyboard is on the left, because I believe that you got a little bit of a turn to your left as you walk in, and then you're walking into a pretty decent sized hallway. But then once you get to the piano near to where you're going to put it, then you just do the opposite. Decide whether you're going to deadlift it off or tip it up. And again, use the blanket. You take the strap out. The main thing to be careful of in all of this is talking to each other. So don't pull the trolley out until the person who is holding the piano is comfortable, until they say, yes, go ahead. Because you can injure feet and fingers and that sort of stuff. So that is the main thing, is that you just want to talk to each other and just go nice and slow. You're in no hurry, I don't think. If the ramp detaches from the van, I would take it around to your door. I don't know what Kirby and Maurice is like. I think it's just straight out. I don't think there's anything at all. But your house, I know you've got a little bit of a step up. If you can take the ramp off, then I would do that and take it around to the back. All right, so we'll talk to you in a couple of hours, and hopefully you've had a look at this and you can decide whether you have any questions or not. Okay? Peace out.